Hi. Thought it was about time we had another update on the build of the CX500. In the previous little video on the website, I stripped it all down, stripped the donor bike down, and since then things have been happening. The engine's been sorted out, and I'll show you that in a minute. And the frame over here has also had the mods done and is starting to go back together. So this little video just show you the work that's been done so far, and then we'll have some future updates as things get a bit more progressed. Here's the engine, which we've now prepared ready for the next bike. As you can see, it looks a little bit different to how it did in the last video when we took it out of the donor bike. But this motor has not had a great deal done to it other than cleaning up, and we're going with the premise of if it's not broken we're not going to fix it. So I'm just going to run it. It's been looked over, oil changed, tappet's done, just a general inspection, and then really degreased thoroughly and painted. The rocker boxes have been polished, as you can see, but I've gone with the minimal amount of dismantling to keep things as they were and see what we can get away with. It's not too much of a bother if there are some issues later to do a bit of work on the engine in the bike, and if it proves to be a real bad engine, then we'll tear it out and do it properly. But chances are it's in pretty good nick. It was being used right up until the days it was taken off the road, so I don't suppose there'll be too much to do. There's a few things still left to put on it. Starter motor has got to go back on, and the Honda badges that go on down here, they still need to be fitted. Around the front, it's waiting for the front engine mount and also the radiator and the cooling system to be installed. So that will be coming along quite soon. But generally, I just want you to see how nicely they come up. This one was, as I say, thoroughly degreased, and then just gone over with some scouring and wire brushes, etc, to get as much of the corrosion off as possible. And then it's been painted with a wheel paint, a Simonize 5-wheel silver, which you can buy from Halfords. And I've used this on lots of engines, and it deals with the heat fine, no problems really, and you can touch it up if you scratch it or whatever, and it only costs about £8 a can. So I thoroughly recommend that, and as you can see, it makes a huge difference to the look of the bike. So that's the engine. Up on the bench we've got the frame. Now I've done the modification at the back here, cut the end of the frame off with the bridging bracket that supports the seat, and I've put the new one in, and if you look down here you can see I've just stitch welded it along on this seam, and it fits in fine. It picks up here, as we say on the website. There's a couple of little fixings here, and another one, I'll zoom out, one here. So these two fixings which locate the bracket onto the frame, and then you just weld it in place. Other than that, the frame's obviously been cleaned and painted. This one I've had 2-pack epoxy coated, which is my favourite finish for frames because it's very durable. You can see here the bevel box is back on. The new shock absorbers are fitted. These are the shock absorbers I've got on the website at the moment, and I supply these with these little spacers. If you look here, there's a little spacer that goes behind, and we just come over on the other side. There's also a nice little bevel washer that goes behind the nut, which just makes a neat job of it. Down on this one, on the left hand side, you have a 10mm bolt at the bottom, and you can just pack that out with some washers. but all the other fixings are 16mm, and I supply the bushes to go with that, so that all comes as part of those shock absorbers. Back round to the front here, shaft drive is installed, and it's because the engine's really pretty well ready to go back in. And another thing to really remember when you do your project, this water bottle, it's the right swine to try and get it in once the engine's in the frame, so this is one of the things you really do need to get installed first. And what I do, because it looks so horrible, a bit like a specimen bottle from a hospital, I just give it a coat of plastic primer and black paint it, but I just leave a little bit here, I mask a little bit off just so you can see the water level, coolant level inside once it's done. So that's about it. We've got the headlamp brackets have been installed. They're obviously part of the kit, and the forks have been polished, and I've just put an old wheel in there for now to just keep things level. And I'll show you something that I'm working on, which is going to be available soon, I hope, and I'm going to try it out on this bike. Right, up on the bench we've got the two hubs, and I've decided, or thought for a long time, it'd be really nice to do a CX with spoke wheels, but of course Honda never made one, and all the bikes have got the Comstar wheels, so I thought, well, let's have a go at converting the Comstars into spokes. So what I've done is I've obviously dismantled the Comstar wheels, and I've had these flanges made with the spoke holes in, two for the front, two for the back. They go on just with nuts and bolts, as you can see, and I'm going to send these off and have them spoked up with balanced rims and stainless spokes, which I think will look pretty good. So if this all proves to be successful, this will be another thing that I'll make available to anyone who wants to build themselves a CX Cafe racer. And this is another thing I'm just going to have a go with. It might work, it might not, but if it works you'll all be able to get the benefit of it. I found these really cheap slide valve carbs on eBay. They're obviously made in China. They're a sort of copy of a flat slide McCuney type thing, and they're not very expensive, and I thought, well, why not have a go? So I've bought a pair of these, and I'll be fitting these onto the next bike and messing about with them and seeing if we can get some jets and stuff to work, just see how the bike runs. It might be okay, might not be, but it's got to be worth a try, so we'll see how that pans out in a future episode.